Welcome students. I am Professor Naval Kishore from School of Management Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Today, I am going to discuss about formal and informal organizations. You have already learnt about importance and significance of organization structure, organization manual, organizational charts, etc. etc. Today, let us learn about formal and informal organizations. First of all, let us see what are formal and informal organizations. The formal organization is a planned structure. That means you plan for the structure. It represents the officially established pattern of relationships among individuals. That means there may be various persons working in an organization, and the formal organization describes the relationship among the individuals, groups, sections, units, departments and divisions so as to accomplish the goals of the enterprise. That means the pattern of relationship is such that the people working in a particular unit, in a particular sections or a particular group or departments or divisions, they all accomplish or make their effort for the achievement of goals of the enterprise. It may be defined as the pattern of formal relationships and duties, the organization charts, job descriptions and positions guides. For example, when you are going to work in an organization, you will find that there is an organization charts there where you may have the job descriptions there. Who is working at what positions, that would be mentioned there. So that means in a glimpse you have the structure of the organization before you. Next, formal rules, policies, work procedures and similar devices adopted by management to guide employee behavior in certain ways within the structure of formal relationships. This means that there is a well-established rules in the organizations. There are well-established policies for that organization. Accordingly, you need to perform your duties, you need to do your job there. There is a well-defined work procedures. That means how you are going to execute a particular work, how are you going to perform a particular work. Details should be given in that formal organization. Next, it facilitates the determination of objectives and policies, communication, delegation of authority and coordination which take place according to a prescribed pattern. This means that how you are going to achieve the objective of that organization, how you are going to communicate among the people, among the departments, among the managers, among various departments, division, etc., etc. That is well-established procedure is there. Delegation of authority, that means how you are going to delegate the authority, whom you are going to report or who is going to command whom, etc., etc., who is authorized to do how much of the work, in what way he or she is accountable for that particular work, etc., etc. And about the coordinating procedures. All these things are well prescribed in an organization. As far as informal organization is concerned, it refers to relationships between individuals in the organization and this relationship is based on interest, personal attitudes, emotions, prejudices, likes, dislikes, physical location, similarity of work, etc., etc. For example, if you are going to work outside the country in America, and if you find there are Indians also working there, obviously there is a probability that you may develop sort of informal group with the Indians. Similarly, the languages. If somebody goes in the Hindi belt, or somebody goes in the Tamil belt, or somebody goes in the English belt, or let's say the Punjabi belt, wherever you go there, and if you find that the people of your taste, people of your same language are there, there is a probability that you start interacting with him or her, so that they also understand about you, you also understand about him or her, and both of you are able to communicate in a better way. Similarly, the likes and dislikes, based on that likes and dislikes, informal group emerge in an organization. Informal organization represents natural grouping of people in working situation, because you need to discuss something informally with others. Now, whom you can discuss? Obviously, if there is some sort of similarity related to liking, disliking, attitude, emotions, etc., etc., based on those similarity, you go to that group and you interact with them. Now, let us see that difference between formal and informal organizations. Based on origin, the formal organization, there is a conscious managerial decision to form the formal organizations. Obviously, the management, they form the organization, they form the different department. There may be manufacturing department, there may be marketing department, there may be HR department, there may be finance department, there may be logistics department, etc., etc. All these departments are created formally in the formal organization. As far as informal organizations are concerned, they emerge spontaneously. That is not formally created as formal organizations. In the same way, formal organizations emerge, or abolition of formal organization takes place based on some well-defined procedures, which are the process of the emergence, that is when you make that organization or when you abolish that organization. The procedures, well spelled procedures, are there in case of formal organization. As far as informal organizations are concerned, management has no hand either in the emergence or abolition of informal organization. Next, purpose. There is a well-defined objectives in the formal organization, because if the manufacturing department is there, it has some objective that okay, this much of the production takes place in a month, in a week, etc., etc. So there is a well-defined objectives. As far as informal organization is concerned, it emerges as a result of satisfaction of social and psychological. So it provides you social and psychological satisfaction when you are a part of some informal organizations. Next is activities. Informal organizations are differentiated and integrated around the objectives of the enterprise and are formalized. That means there is a well-defined objectives for the existence of formal organizations, and the people are grouped together or the departments are created so that those well-defined objectives may be achieved, may be fulfilled. as far as informal organizations are concerned, there are no specific activities. That means informally the people join together, they interact together, they discuss together. There is no formal procedures for that. It is based on common values, language, culture, or any other factor. Either based on the language, because you are speaking the same language, therefore you interact with each other. Either on the basis of the culture, your culture, there may be similarity of the culture, therefore you are interacting with each other, or there may be similarity of any sort of the behavior where on the basis of that you are interacting with each other. Next is membership. Every individual belongs to one work group only and works under one superior. Obviously, in the formal organizations, people are or activities are divided. There are some activities and group of people are working for the achievement of that or for the performance of that particular activity. So what happens, there would be one working group and that working group would be reporting to one supervisor only, because the one supervisor, if he supervises that task of that group, there is a possibility that task gets done in a more smooth and efficient manner. As far as informal organization is concerned, a person can be a member of more than one group as per his or her choice. Like formal organization, he or she cannot be limited to only one group. He or she may be members of different groups at the same time. Next is about structure. Formal organization is hierarchical. It is pyramid shaped in a structure and it has well-defined positions, roles and superior subordinate relationships. Because as you all know that like pyramid, at the top you have very few people, therefore in the top management there are very few people, and when the pyramid like the bottom is very wide, so at the bottom you have more people, because at the soft floor, at the floor level you have more people, and then once you are moving up, then it gets narrowed down and you have less people at the top. But informal organization is non-hierarchical. There is no hierarchy in the informal organization. There is no well-defined roles. There is no superior subordinate relationship. There is no well-defined positions. Everybody works like equally. They interact with each other. Next, informal organizations, it involves enforcement of organizational order through a set of policies, procedures and rules, and there is an emphasis on status differentiation. There are set of policies, like there may be recruitment policy. There are procedure for appointment, there may be procedure for advertisement, there may be procedure for recruitment, selection, training, etc., etc. And there is a status differentiation also in the formal organization, because somebody may be the CEO of the organization, somebody may be general manager of the organization, somebody may be departmental head, and somebody may be working on the shop floor. But in informal organizations, it looks like a complicated social network of interpersonal relationships. Here, the policies, procedures and rules are not there. The social network is there, and which is based on completely interpersonal relationship, that is your liking, disliking, your attitude, your intimacy with the group, so on and so forth. Next is orientation. In case of formal organization, values, goals and tasks are dominantly economic and technical. This is very important that it is economic and technical. You are supposed to perform something and produce something. Either that something may be in terms of your product or if you are performing the services. And the people are concerned with productivity, profitability, efficiency, survival and growth. All the time your productivity may be measured. All the time the profitability of the organization is calculated. You are judged based on your efficiency. That is a matter of survival and growth of the organization, and those are based on the performance of the employees who are making their best effort for the achievement of goal of the organization. As far as informal organization is concerned, values, goals and tasks are predominantly psychosocial and centered around individual and group satisfaction. There is an affiliation for group cohesiveness and friendship. So here you do not focus on the productivity, you do not focus on the profitability, you do not focus on the efficiency, you are not bothered for the survival and growth of the organization. Rather, you are more bothered about the psychosocial satisfaction, individual and group satisfaction, and your affiliation, particularly sort of the cohesiveness of the informal organization as a group and your friendships or intimacy with other members. Clear? Next is norms of behavior. In formal organizations, individuals are required to behave in the prescribed manner in their work situation. Obviously, if you go to a manufacturing sector, you will find the people are well dressed in that manufacturing activity and everybody doing his or her own work because those are well defined procedures. But in informal organization, individual behavior and group behavior influence each other. Here, the individual behavior and group behavior both are influencing each other because informally you all are together, you interact with them, you eat with them, you discuss with them, or you tell about your work also with them. Therefore, both are influencing each other. In the formal organizations, if any deviation takes place from the standard, the deviations are dealt with according to the organizational rules and regulations. They are a well-defined setup of rules and regulations in the formal organizations. And based on that rules and regulations, if any deviation takes place, the management deal with the people, with the group, with the department in the formal organization. In informal organization, groups develop their own norms of behavior and systems of rewards and punishment. What happens here, because it is completely informal, therefore the group, they themselves develop some sort of norms where if somebody is not following you, what sort of rewards and punishment would be provided to him or her. So you have learnt about the difference between formal and informal organizations. Now let us learn about characteristics of informal organization. In the informal organization, authority, responsibility, relationships, channel of communication, pattern of coordination, etc. are not predetermined. Obviously, there is no predetermined method of communication, coordinations, relationship, etc. This is completely informal. Communication may take place between the managers as well as the shop floor workers. Otherwise, in the formal organization, that moves through manager, again supervisor, again foreman, again there may be group leader, again there may be the shop floor workers. But in the informal organization, it moves informally. It affects and is affected by the formal organization, obviously, because you are a member of both the group of the formal organization as well as informal organization. So if you are influenced by somebody in the informal organizations or formal organization, that may be reflected in your work or in your activity in formal and informal organizations. So the characteristics, on the basis of the characteristics, let us learn about the informal organizations, and these are: first, authority. If you analyze the informal organization, you will find that there is a network of relationship in informal organization, and that relationship may cut across the formally prescribed pattern of relationship. That means in the formal authority you have the full-fledged chain of relationship from top to bottom, but here it cut across the various levels. Second, an informal organization has its own code of conduct, system of communication, and system of reward and punishment. Informal organizations develop their own system of reward and punishment, that if somebody follows you, if somebody follows the group activity, if somebody follows the group norms informally, what reward you are going to provide, or if somebody violates that, what punishment you are going to provide to him or her. Power in informal organization is earned or given by group members rather than delegated. Therefore, it does not follow the official chain of command. As I said you that there is an official chain of command in the formal organization. That means a manager commands subordinates, or deputy manager report to manager, and then deputy manager may command the supervisor or departmental head may command further that supervisor, and then there may be foreman, there may be shop floor employees or worker. So this chain of command is not followed in informal organization, because here you earn the power. As a result, you may become the leader and you may able to influence your group. Next, informal organization is more likely to come from peers than from superiors in the formal hierarchy. Obviously, there is no formal hierarchy in the informal organization. Therefore, it emerges from your peers group. Next, it cannot be controlled by management in the way for, obviously, if because this group emerges informally, therefore there is no hand of management, or therefore management cannot control them. Next, objectives. In informal organization, the group evolve their own goals, which reflects their own special interest. Because based on their own interest, own emotions, they join together. Therefore, they also develop their own goals. Cohesiveness results in the group acting in a unified manner. If the whole group they acts in an unified manner, that may result in to the group cohesiveness. Next is group goals help the satisfaction of individual needs. There is a group goals which help the satisfaction of the individual needs. Next, group objectives should be related to individual needs or the members of the group. As far as communication is concerned, I have already spoken that in the informal organization, communication is not very strict. Therefore, there is a possibility of rumor in that informal organization, and that rumor sometimes may be detrimental also. Next, leadership. Because in formal organization there is no well-defined leadership, so leadership emerges among the groups and there is no superior subordinate relationship, therefore everybody may work together. As far as leaders in informal group is concerned, leader facilitates consensus among the group members, leader may initiate action and leader provides a link with the outside world. So the leadership may be as a part of the age, seniority, work location, technical competence, etc., they may be. And also leader promotes cooperation among members. Now let us see quickly about the functions of informal organizations. The functions are filling in gaps in managerial abilities. Sometimes the supporters, your subordinates also facilitates your planning or executions of the work, so that gap may be filled up by your subordinates members. Next is solving work problems. Informally, your group members may help you in solving a particular job because he or she may be well acquainted with that job. Next, better coordination. Obviously, informally, when you are interacting with each other, there is a probability that you have good coordination and you also may help in facilitating the quick decision process also. Therefore, all these things may facilitate coordination among the group. Channel of communication. Obviously, in formal organization, channel of communication is across the board. That means you may communicate to the manager, to the general manager or anybody, because there is no well set pattern of the communication that flows from the top to the bottom. So therefore, you can communicate with your group members. Restraint on managers. Sometimes the informal groups may not allow the managers to do unjudiciously work or to apply unjudiciously power. There may be restraint from the subordinates or the members of the informal groups in that way. Next, better relationship. It may also help in creation of better relationship because you are interacting continuously with the other members. Next is norms of behavior, because they develop their own behavior and the good and bad conduct is also there, and there is no formal prescribed way of good or bad. They develop their own norms. Next, developing future executive. Sometimes the leader of the informal groups, they are aware of all the working of that organization. Therefore, they may also become the future management may also employ them as a executive also, because they know that they are very good in their work. Now, let us come to the problems of informal organization. The problems are, first, attitude of informal leaders. Sometimes informal leaders, they just work like a troubleshooter. So therefore, they may also influence the management or they may also influence the workers in different activities also. So the attitude may be favorable also toward the work, it may go to the unfavorable also. Sometimes the leaders may influence you to go against that management also. So that may create some problem also. Next is conformity. The group may also exert some pressure to the informal group so that they follow that. So sometimes the leader may just use that group for his or her selfish ends also. Next, resistance to change. If some new policy is being introduced, or new ideas being introduced in that organization, the informal group may resist those ideas because sometimes they may become violent also, because they want to maintain the status quo. They do not want some change. So if the informal groups, they do not want something, they may resist to the management and there may be some conflict, or as a result of their own resistance, some new ideas, some good ideas also may not be implemented. So they may resist also. Next is about rumor. Obviously, as you all know that informal group, there is no communication channel. Therefore, rumors may get twisted and distorted also, and they really spread very fast. And the rumors may prove very dangerous for the organization. Next is role conflict. In the informal group also, they are also the member of the formal group. And sometimes there may be the role conflict as such because the idea, expectation and requirement of both organizations may opposite to each other. Therefore, there may be some role conflict. So the problems of informal organizations are being shown on that chart also. You can see all the problems are reflected here. Thank you very much. So today you have learned about the difference between the formal and informal organizations, the characteristics of the informal organizations, functions of informal organizations and problems of informal organization. Thank you very much.